Three, two, one. Malignant was a promising but yet very disappointing movie. But before I tell you why that was, consider this your spoiler warning, because I will be talking spoilerish thing. Now, let's get on to the review. So this felt very 1980s, 1990s horror movie, which is why I was so stoked to see it. It felt very over the top. It felt very Jason-y, if you will, and a lot of people will agree with me when you watch the movie. It felt like another version of Jason, right? Because he pops up and he's just all over the place, and there's like this mystical thing. Obviously, towards the end of the movie, we find out that there is no mystical aspect to this. It was all in her head. But it was super promising. That first, what was it? I think like 10-minute scene before the Malignant title card came out. The acting over the top, the shooting, and oh, we gotta kill the cancer. Like that part was like, oh, dope. This is gonna be a retro kind of horror movie going back to the roots of horror, right? Because what we remember from Jason, Chucky, Michael Myers, Hellraiser, whatever, back in the days, it was always over the top, the screaming. I mean, you tell me, look at those first 15 minutes and tell me that it wasn't that, right? So I was like all in. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. But then after the title card and then it started going along, it lost that. Like, not even by a little gradual decline. It like jumped off of a cliff and it never regained that. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my nostalgia. I was gonna call it nostalgia, but just my expectation of having that kind of over the top, gory kind of 1980s, 1990s horror flick that we all miss and yearn for. And this movie had great potential to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. The premise and the idea for it, the concept was super original. I enjoyed the fact of like this kind of, what they call like a parasite, two twins, living, being developed together, but one doesn't really and kind of just gets stuck in someone. So I appreciate that, right? They took a little bit, they went over the top with it, but yet they tried to give us something super original. And it was, but I just think that there was way too many plot devices to try to move it along, to try to make it make sense. Logic was out the door with this movie completely. And not that we need logic, right? Because, come on. Look at some of the Michael Myers movies, some of the Jason movies, some of the Freddy Krueger movies, some of the Child's Play movies, just on and on, Hellraiser, whatever you want to call it. Go back and check those movies out. There is not much logic, but at least it does that within a story, within a framework of what you're trying to get. Like we knew like Freddy Krueger killed you in his dreams. So yeah, some of the logic went out the door, but at the end of the day, they end up going back to that main premise. Hey, don't fall asleep because he'll kill you. And you would like to see how they couldn't fall asleep. And this movie was just all over the place to try to, I don't know, I guess be too original, too unique. And I just think, again, it lost its magic. From the 15 minutes on, it was just so hopeful. I was looking forward to this movie. And again, maybe it's just me, but I just felt like it didn't do it for me. Now, I know that this movie was trending. I know a lot of people watch this movie. I don't know what the reviews are. Like I've said it many times doing my reviews, I don't like to look at other reviews because I don't want it to hinder the way I thought about, like, oh yeah, they made a point and then change my opinion. But I do know that when I saw Twitter and I saw a couple of things on TikTok, that it was trending on Twitter and there was a lot of people saying, hey, we're going to watch it, and doing little clips on TikTok. So it was definitely trending, and with good notion. I mean, with good motive, because it was, at least for me, like I said, when I saw the trailer, when I saw the first 15 minutes, I was all in. But then sadly, by the end, it was super disappointing. Now, again, like I said earlier, it had great aspects and not so great aspects, as you've already heard. So you'll either love it, hate it, but I don't know where you stand. For me, it was just so. I'm in the middle. So for me, this movie was a C+, because I see what it was trying to do, and it did execute in some instances, but failed miserably in others. But I still enjoyed it from the beginning to the end. I didn't watch my phone. I wasn't like watching the time. The pacing was good. Some of the acting, I guess, I wish they would have just stuck to the over the top, what he was trying to do, because he was trying to give us a retro 1980s, 1990s horror movie flick with a modern twist, like with the special effects and just having those weapons in your arsenal to make a better, experience for all of us. And I could definitely appreciate that. But yeah, it just felt a little bit short. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What did you think of this movie? Did it freak you out? Did you scare? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was going to be better? Do you think my C+ rating is too low, too high? Put your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.